Behold the big brother to Triumph's hugely popular Tiger 800, the all-new Triumph Tiger Explorer. At the heart of this beauty is a brand new 1,251cc fuel-injected triple that sports fly-by-wire throttle control. As they say, there's no replacement for displacement, and that sweet big block is mated to a 6-speed transmission and shaft final drive, while the long travel suspension utilizes a 46mm adjustable fork, mounted up with twin 305 discs and 4-piston calipers, accessorized with switchable ABS. And speaking of electronic goodies, the Tiger Explorer's onboard computer also comes equipped with traction control, cruise control, dual trip computers, air temperature gauge, and a built-in frost warning system. All welcome tools when the pavement meets the gravel. Then there's the optional 3-piece hard luggage system that boasts over 90 liters of storage space. So now in the densely packed category of big bore adventure machines, how does this newcomer stack up? Well, here's veteran motorcycle journalist Larry Tate with the tale of the tape.
So Larry, back in the day, before Motorcycle Experience, there was Motorcycle Rider.
There was indeed.
It's been a long time. But back then, I think the only adventure touring motorcycle you could buy was probably an old BMW
R100 probably, yeah, GS model.
Fast forward a few years now, man, there's like tons on the market.
Everybody seems to be making them. The original one was, I guess, the original adventure bike. It was designed for people who wanted to go long distances where there weren't maybe roads.
Yep.
Over the years, it became more and more popular with people who just liked the look, didn't necessarily want to go to Africa or South America or whatever, but they got interested in it because of the comfort. And as you say, everybody's making something along that line now, and this is Triumph's brand new entry to that genre.
Well, the Explorer is quite a thing, man. Watching you ride it today, I had a chance to ride it. It certainly, in my opinion, stands apart from a lot of the other bikes in this category.
The big thing that's different about this compared to the standard or with the normal kind of bike in this category is the multi-cylinder engine, I think.
Yeah.
Ducatis, BMWs, KTMs are all twins, flat or V-twins. This is an inline triple, which is Triumph's signature style of motor. It feels much more like a pure road bike engine, if you like, than the twins do.
Mm-hmm.
Triples are just different. They sort of combine, I've said this before, sort of combine some of the feeling of a twin with a four. Like they like to spin like a four does, but there's usually a lot of low down grunt. And this thing is definitely feels that way. It's got, I think, 135 horsepower is what they quote, and something like 90 foot-pounds of torque, which is the big number that matters for most people. And it's so flexible. You can run it down to 2,000 RPM in 6th gear and just roll the throttle wide open, and it just drives away. It doesn't stumble or stutter. It just hauls, you know. And when you get up into the higher RPM, 6, 7, it feels like a big monster Japanese 4. It just pulls. It really hauls. It's quite the engine. It really is.
How did you find the stopping power?
I would say good. Didn't have a lot of feel to the lever, but I don't know, you're talking about sport bike versus normal street bike thing. Compared to my old Bandit, it's fantastic. Compared to a brand new modern sport bike, maybe a little bit wooden, but it's really not bad. Good power. There's ABS at both ends, and unusually the rear brake is very, very strong. I mean, you can get the ABS activated just by stepping on the rear pedal, so you know there's a lot of brake going down there. Controls are quite light while we're talking about that. The brake is light, the clutch is light. Both levers are adjustable to 4 or 5 positions. I think 4 for the clutch and 5 for the brake. Mm-hmm. Very, very light throttle, as much as any bike I've ever had, as light as you can imagine. Yeah. And that's because it's all fly-by-wire stuff now. There's no actual throttle cable going to the injectors. It's all being done electronically. Right. And that's why there's so much electronics in the machine itself. If you turn this on, there's a million things that can show up in the dash, as you'll see when it comes up. And then there are 2 buttons over here on your left handlebar, both marked I for information. You can scroll through any number of different functions.
I found the mirrors were great for me with my wide shoulders. Yeah. Same for you?
Yeah, the mirrors are excellent, I thought. I've heard other people say that they were okay. I thought they were way past okay. Yeah. I thought they're nice and clear, and like you, I found they give you a nice wide field of view. They're well above average to my mind.
Well, we talked about this a little earlier, that this bike is designed to go the distance, and I found the riding position, there's certainly a lot of room. That's a low saddle position we have right now. I found the bars were just a little kind of high for me. My shoulders were actually sort of carrying the weight of my arms at one point.
Yeah, I didn't notice that too much. I know exactly what you're saying, though. I spent a lot of time on a Ducati Multistrada recently, which has the same kind of fairly wide, fairly high bar. Didn't like it initially, but after riding it for a couple of days, I didn't even think about it again.
Now, this bike, obviously, touring. They gave us the luggage with this particular model, and the Explorer has plenty of room in the luggage cases. What did you think of that?
They're big and square, which is a good thing. The more square they are, the easier it is to pack into them.
Yeah.
The top box actually has a 12-volt plug in there, so I guess you could charge accessories if you wanted, that kind of thing come with you. They come on and off quite easily. They seem a little bit loose to me, the way the mounts work, but I was doing some reading last night, and apparently that's deliberate. The idea being that if you have a lot of weight in the bags, if they can move a little bit, they're not going to influence the bike so much if you suddenly have a jolt or you suddenly turn it as much if there's a bit of give to the bags.
Right.
There's actually a bar underneath here that looks like a support bar toward the back of the bag that goes right across the bike, and it'll transfer loads back and forth apparently as one bag moves, it'll push the other one.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to make it have less effect on the bike.
Right. So there are a lot of bikes, as we said earlier, in this category, and Triumph has now stepped in a big way. Who is going to be the customer for this particular model?
Anglophiles, somebody who doesn't want a GS, thinks there's too many of them out there, somebody who wants the latest and newest electronics. Triumph is certainly by itself a very popular brand. It's got a history going back more than a century now of almost continuous production. Mm-hmm. And the modern bikes have been very good, very reliable, and people do enjoy riding them. They're just a different feel and experience to them.
Right.
And certainly the engine is part of that. Triples just feel different. So if you don't want a V-twin or a parallel twin, this is the bike to buy in that category. It's just a nice, comfortable bike with a honking motor that, if you want to go a long way for a holiday,
yeah,
it's good.
Nice job, Larry. Thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure, yes. Good times as ever.